Hello and welcome to Healthcare Matters, the internet television program that explores the intersection of medicine and the law. I'm your host, Mike Matre, editor of the Medical Liability Monitor. Today we'll be speaking with Ralph Alvarado, who is a practicing physician and senator for Kentucky's 28th District. Last year, Senator Alvarado introduced Senate Bill 31, legislation for implementing an apology in medicine law for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. SB 31 did not receive a vote last year, but Senator Alvarado reintroduced the bill this year as Senate Bill 85. Apology in medicine laws, which prohibit certain expressions of sympathy, condolence, or apology related to the disclosure of adverse medical outcomes from being admissible in a medical malpractice lawsuit, are not new. 36 states have already enacted their own versions of apology legislation. Supporters of apology in medicine laws argue that these disclosures improve the doctor-patient relationship and reduce the frequency of medical liability claims. Welcome to Healthcare Matters, Senator Alvarado.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate being here.
We're here today to discuss your Senate Bill 31, which would authorize medical providers to express sympathy for adverse outcomes without the expression being admissible within a medical malpractice trial. How did you get involved in spearheading this bill, and where is the bill currently in the legislative process?
Yeah, well, the idea of the bill was Senate Bill 31 for us this year, and it was the first time it had been filed in Kentucky. And you're right, I think 36 other states currently have this kind of law on the books. There was a physician, Dr. Curtis Carey, who works at the University of Kentucky. He and I both serve on the Governor's Council for the American College of Physicians. And we've been involved in quite a few things, from lobbying our legislators in Congress up in D.C. Regarding medical issues. But he and I discussed this concept about 2 years ago, and he's pretty passionate about trying to get this done. And so he approached me last year about it. I did some research on it and found that even the VA Medical Center in Lexington had used this kind of standard procedure of apologizing if there had been, even for things like errors in medicine, they had apologized, found that they had really reduced a lot of their malpractice rates, and that a lot of patients and families were just appreciative of that forward conversation between the doctor and the family. And so looking into that, knowing that other states had implemented it, really the biggest thing I think that often affects a lot of malpractice cases is just communication. I think as physicians, in Kentucky in particular, there's a very bad legal climate here. Mm-hmm. We have no tort reform. We have nothing like review panels or caps on medical damages, and physicians here are often nervous, and we know that it affects the style of practice for a doctor. And so we thought if we could encourage communication between docs to at least say, I'm sorry. And if the patient has a bad outcome or the patient expires, I think a lot of doctors are scared just to tell their patients and their families, look, I'm so sorry for this outcome. Mm-hmm. Not acknowledging guilt, not acknowledging that anything was done wrong, that sometimes you can do the right thing and still get a bad outcome out of it. And so if physicians are willing to almost humanize themselves and let those patients know that, it often helps calm fears. Families feel like the doctors are more open, and to encourage that communication is going to help reduce lawsuits overall. So that was the hope of getting this done. It went through committee on the Senate side. It passed the committee. It passed the Senate, and then when it got to the House, it got put into the Judiciary Committee, and it sat there, and it's not going to move forward, unfortunately. And we have a lot of our trial lawyer friends who don't like this kind of legislation, and they are unfortunately in control of the House chamber. The Speaker of the House is a trial lawyer, as is the head of the Judiciary Committee here in the House. So unfortunately it didn't move beyond that, but we're hoping that once we start this process, we can continue to refile it. We'll often gain steam and have a chance to pass in the future.
Have you had a personal experience in your medical career where you had wanted to express condolence, but perhaps felt that doing so could open you to liability?
No, I'm a primary care doc, and so and I still do my own hospital work. I'm kind of a dinosaur in that stuff anymore. So I still take care of my own folks, and we've had patients where we've done everything properly, and a young patient in an unexpected death. It bothered us. I know my partner and I. There's one in particular I can think of. I'm still traumatized by it. Really, a young man, 35. Within a week, kind of a rapid decline in the hospital and expired. And I remember being there with his code, and we ran it and did everything right. Having to come back afterwards to a grieving wife with a 5 and a 3-year-old to say, look, I'm so, and his parents, all of which were patients of mine, right. And to say, I'm so sorry, I did everything I could. I don't know what happened. We asked for an autopsy, and in the autopsy, inconclusive. They could not determine the cause of death. that still bugs me to this day, that case. And that'll probably, it'll carry me forever because I don't know what happened. I don't know why this guy died. But I remember distinctly offering that to this family, just saying, I'm sorry. And they knew we did everything we could. So there was no adverse outcome. They didn't feel like they needed to, call a lawyer or do anything wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. But those are the kind of moments where I remember it's just something that when you build a relationship with your patients, you feel comfortable, at least expressing that. But I think a lot of our hospitalist physicians, those are people that I see every day in clinic. I continue to see them in clinic since that experience, almost 12, 13 years ago. But, there's hospitalists that take care of these folks who have no relationship. And so when someone comes in and has an outcome like that, they're going to be scared to say, I'm sorry, because they don't know them that well. And frankly, they're scared just to have those words come out. So for me personally, it hasn't been an issue. But I know that if I put myself in the position of my colleagues who might have a one-time encounter, like an ER physician or a hospitalist, they don't have that same comfort level to know these folks, and there's not that trust, that patients will have back with that doctor either. So I think that's what I'm looking at it more is, people that are in that situation where there isn't that relationship to begin with, it's more difficult to say that you're sorry.
Dr. Alvarado, it's been an enlightening conversation and a pleasure to have you on Healthcare Matters. I hope you'll come on our show again.
Anytime, I'd be happy to do it. Thanks so much, Mike.